The trembling hand of the young girl barely touched the polished surface of the grand piano. A single quiet tear rolled down her cheek. She was alone, hidden in the shadows of the mansion she cleaned every day with her mother, the man who owned this house. A wealthy, busy executive walked right past her every morning, never truly seeing her, only the uniform she wore. This imbalance felt heavy, the world of immense privilege brushing against a life built on struggle and quiet dignity. But in just a few minutes, a hidden talent, a secret dance, was about to shatter the glass wall between them, testing everything he believed about kindness. Have you ever met someone who changed how you see the world? Tell us in comments before we begin. Hit subscribe, it's appreciated. It was an ordinary morning for Ilara, the same as the hundreds before it. She brewed her instant coffee in the small, shared kitchen of her tiny apartment, the weak sunlight barely fighting its way through the window. Ilara wasn't just a maid, she was a mother, and her world was built around the hope she carried for her daughter Leah. Every worn dollar bill, every aching joint from scrubbing floors, was a brick laid on Leah's path to a brighter future. Leah, a 12-year-old with a passion for dance, dreams of a stage and escaping their financial worries, which are reflected in her mother Ilara's tired face. Ilara works as a cleaner in the silent, luxurious mansion of the wealthy Mr. Harrison, who treats his staff, including Ilara, as invisible and defined by their roles. Ilara's hard work is precise, yet she feels the heavy weight of being unseen. Her low status was reinforced one afternoon when Mr. Harrison showed annoyance after a delivery. Man mistook Ilara for his assistant and treated her with respect. The next day, a memo appeared, strictly limiting her role, a quiet but clear dismissal based on societal class. Despite the pain of this invisibility, Ilara carries the hope of Leah's dreams. She performs small, perfect acts of rebellion in her cleaning, like rearranging a flower or leaving a book open to an inspiring page, proving that she is more than just a uniform. One rainy Saturday, Ilara needed to finish a deep cleaning. She couldn't afford childcare, so she brought Leah with her, a rare and risky choice. Leah was told strictly to stay in the small laundry room, quiet and hidden. But the laundry room was right next to the ballroom. In the center of that vast empty space stood the grand piano, and the polished floor was a mirror. The silence of the house called to Leah, and the beauty of that empty space pulled her out. The music wasn't loud. It was the rhythmic sound of her bare feet on the wooden floor and her own soft humming. Leah danced. She wasn't dancing for an audience. She was dancing out her secret worries, her mother's tiredness, and her own beautiful quiet dream. Her movements were raw, full of feeling, telling a story of hope struggling against gravity. Upstairs, Mr. Harrison was supposed to be on a call. He had been having a bad day, full of demanding investors and cold numbers. He heard a faint, unexpected sound. It's not music from a speaker, but something rhythmic, human, curiosity, a feeling. He rarely indulged, pulled him down the steps, past the doorway to the ballroom. He stood there, unseen in the hallway's shadow, watching the maid's daughter. Her focus, her quiet intensity, the way she made the struggle beautiful, it stopped him completely. He wasn't seeing a maid's daughter anymore. He was seeing pure, undeniable talent. Have you ever carried pain in silence, hoping one day someone would truly see you? Tell us in the comments. The sound of his own heavy breathing was the only thing that moved in the silent house. Mr. Harrison stood motionless, silent figure framed by the doorway. He wasn't thinking about the millions he was supposed to be managing or the argument he just had. All of it faded into a dull background noise. His eyes were fixed on Leah. She spun, she leaped, she dropped to the floor and rose again, not like a child playing, but like an artist pouring her whole being into the moment. The silence was broken only by the soft thump of her feet, and the sound of his own breathing, which had suddenly become too loud. In that small, perfect dance, he didn't see Ilara's maid uniform, or the small apartment they came from. He saw passion, saw the sheer, undeniable effort that transcended money, status, or background. For the first time, he felt a sting of shame, a deep, painful realization. All these months, he had looked through them. He hadn't just ignored Ilara, he had ignored the rich, complex life, the dreams, and the sacrifice that existed right under his expensive roof. Leia finished her movement, holding a pose, her face lifted, a soft breath escaping her lips. Just as she was about to relax, she turned and saw him. She froze. The immediate shock in her eyes wasn't fear, it was shame. She covered her mouth. With a small, trembling hand, her moment of perfect freedom suddenly ruined by the presence of power. The world rushed back in the difference between them, the rules, the place she was supposed to be. Mr. Harrison slowly stepped into the light. He didn't speak a single word. He couldn't. His throat felt tight with regret. Instead, he simply raised his own hand, not to scold, but to slowly, deliberately, offer a single clap. It was a quiet sound in the vast room, but it echoed louder than any shout. The sound was an apology, a recognition, and a question. All at once, Leia's eyes widened, filling with unexpected tears, looked at him, not as the distant, wealthy boss, but as the first person outside her mother who truly saw her talent. In that silence, the old truth about their relationship broke. What would you have done if this truth that you had misjudged someone so deeply was suddenly staring back at you? Tell us in the comments. Single clap hung in the air, a bridge, built instantly between two worlds that should never have met. The silence after the clap was a turning point. Mr. Harrison did not rush the moment. He looked at Leia, then slowly turned and walked away, leaving her to her space. But he carried something new upstairs that day, understanding. The cold, hard numbers of his business world suddenly felt hollow compared to the raw, beautiful vulnerability he had witnessed. He realized that true wealth wasn't in owning a mansion, but in recognizing the richness of human spirit, a richness that existed, often unseen, in every life around him, including the lives of those he paid to clean his floors. He didn't fire Elra. He didn't offer a grand public gesture. Instead, the next day, a small, discreet envelope appeared on the kitchen counter, next to Elara's timesheet. Inside was not more money for cleaning, but information, the name and number of the city's most prestigious dance academy, along with a quiet note saying, "Talent deserves a stage." It was anonymous, simple, and profound. Leia found the note, her hands trembling as she read the words. It was an acknowledgement, a validation of Leia's secret dream and Elara's silent sacrifice. Tears streamed down her face, tears not of sadness, but of relief and powerful gratitude. Someone, somewhere in this cold, massive house, had seen them. Mr. Harrison never spoke of the dance. He didn't need to. But his eyes changed. When he passed Elara now, he didn't just see the uniform. He saw the light in the woman's eyes, the strength of a mother, and the quiet dignity she carried. His once cold home began to feel warmer, more human. He learned that racism isn't always a shout. Sometimes, it's the quiet act of looking away, of choosing not to see the humanity right in front of you. Leia got her chance. She walked into that academy not as the maid's daughter, but as a dancer. Her story became a quiet reminder that talent, dreams, and worth have no address, no background, and no color. They just need a chance to bloom. The greatest poverty is not a lack of money, but the failure to see the potential in others. Time we choose to truly see the person, not the label. We are taking a step toward a kinder world. What part of this story stayed with you the most? Tell us in the comments. Show some love with a like and subscribe to stay inspired.